During Refugee Week 2016, members of the Refugee and Asylum Forum met Northern Ireland's MPs at the Law Centre to talk about what Westminster can do to make things better for refugees and asylum seekers. We asked some members of the group what issues are close to their hearts and what MPs can do to help.
Hi, I'm Rand Doherty. I work for Home Plus. It's a homeless charity, and I run their drop-in centre for refugees and asylum seekers. And something that we feel very strongly about is enforced destitution of asylum seekers. And we feel that no human being, especially asylum seeker, coming here for right of safety and protection of their life should suffer enforced destitution, particularly when each case is different and there are a number of wide reasons why they are forced into destitution, from a number of situations where someone could be just waiting on a psychiatrist report and through no fault of their own they are destitute and out of the asylum process. And one case in particular where there's a gentleman who's waiting over 4 months for this, and in the meantime he is facing destitution, and this is hanging over him and it's affecting his mental health. Other situations where the Home Office say that we're not going to grant you asylum, but at the same time we say your country is too dangerous, so effectively they are being enforced into destitution and becoming stateless, and they have no right to access work or any provisions. And there's a wide range of other things. It also has a massive impact on the asylum seekers' well-being and mental health. We're seeing an increase in people who are suffering from severe mental health and admitted to mental health hospitals, and as a result there is a massive incur in cost to the health trust, which could be pumped into the actual accommodation and subsistence of asylum seekers. And those people who are actually in this destitution, there's a high percentage of them actually go on to eventually be granted asylum. So we strongly feel that no asylum seeker should be enforced into any destitution.
Hello, my name is Fungai, and I'm with the group Housing for All. We are doing a campaign to lobby the government to change the law regarding destitute asylum seekers in Northern Ireland. At the moment, asylum seekers who have had their cases rejected with the Home Office, they are losing their housing and their support. So our campaign is to ensure that the government honor their human rights obligations to provide housing and accommodation for refugees and asylum seekers, destitute asylum seekers in Northern Ireland. We are hoping that by honoring and focusing on the benefits of providing housing and support for asylum seekers in Northern Ireland will go a long way in creating productive citizens for Northern Ireland. It's their right to have a roof over their head, and we believe the government has got to honor their obligations regarding that.
Hello, my name is Liz Griffith and I work in the policy unit at the Law Centre. One of the issues that we want to flag with our MPs at Westminster is the issue of transition for refugees. When an asylum seeker is granted refugee status, you would expect that it's a time of celebration. After months, years of the struggles associated with the asylum system, they're finally granted refugee status. They have the right to be here, to settle here, to really move on with their lives, the right to be protected. However, unfortunately, as a result of bureaucratic obstacles and delays, many newly recognised refugees experience destitution. And for some, that destitution might actually be worse than what they experienced in the asylum system, which seems rather cruel. So the Law Centre and other organisations is asking that the Home Office does not stop the asylum support until the refugee has made arrangements or provision for an alternative income, whether it be through work or through social security benefits. So we're asking that one support doesn't end until another begins, and at the minimum we suggest that interim support is available for 40 days at least. That's one of the issues that we think, one of the recommendations that we think would improve transition for refugees.
I'm Ligia Parisi, and I work for Brysel Intercultural on behalf, as well as a general manager for the Vulnerable Syrian Refugee Consortium. One of the issues that the Syrian families are facing when they come here to Northern Ireland is being able to cross the border to the south of Ireland, for example. They don't have permission to go to the south. However, they could apply for a certificate of travel, which can be very expensive for them. However, they are refugees. They are not actually technically refugees as such, because they are under the humanitarian protection, and humanitarian protection will not entitle the refugees to apply for the UN Convention travel document, which is normally a more affordable option whenever they want to go to the south, for example. So what we would like to see is this arrangement between north and south revisited, and for those families to be able to have a permission to go to the south if they wish, without actually that being a criminal offense.
You will have just heard from Ligia about some of the difficulties experienced by the new Syrian refugees in respect of travelling and their travel documents. In fact, travel has been a concern for all refugees wishing to move within the island of Ireland. The problem is that refugee status, whether issued by the United Kingdom for those in the north, by the Republic of Ireland for those in the south, is not recognised by the other jurisdiction. So that means that a refugee can't easily travel south or north. The practical realities of that is, let's say, children wanting to take part in a sport competition might not be able to do so, or those wanting to go on school trips or visit family members. If they want to hop on the bus and go to Dublin, they must first apply for a travel document and then apply for a visa. Both of those applications are expensive and both require months. All for perhaps spending, a couple of hours across the border in Letterkenny, for example. So, what is the solution? We are asking Westminster's assistance to encourage the British and Irish authorities to agree to mutually recognise refugee status, to afford refugees permission to travel as visitors within the other jurisdiction. That solution would assist all refugees, and we think it would be very welcome.
I'm Denise Wright, the Race Relations Coordinator for South Belfast. I've been working with the Syrian refugees who've come here, and they've pretty much left everything they have behind, including their families. When they arrive here, they're very narrow criteria around family reunification, and the families are very concerned about the people they've left back in Syria or in the camps, or who may be spread across Europe. And what we would like to see is that the eligibility for the Vulnerable Persons Relocation Scheme is amended to take into account the fact that these families might be able to come and join their families who are already settled here.
You've just heard about family reunion for Syrian VPR people. The issue applies to all refugees. We would like Westminster to expand the family reunification scheme for all categories of refugees. Once refugees are reunited with their loved ones, they can truly begin to rebuild their lives.